Welcome to my demonstration lesson. This is all about contemporary arts in the Philippines, particularly theater. The objectives of the lessons are: 1. Identify and describe the functions of various dramatic elements. 2. Express appreciation of the role of drama or stage plays as a tool to educate, inform, and entertain in the contemporary world. 3. Perform an excerpt of a scene based from the situation assigned. The content standards. Understanding of the significant roles of artists from the regions. Performance standards. Creates avenues to advocate the arts from the different regions. The learning competencies. 1. Defines contemporary arts in the Philippines. 2. Evaluates contemporary art forms based on the elements and principles. The elements of drama. If you happen to see this, what comes to your mind? What about this? Or this one? Or this one? In a typical Filipino plot, a good story has the following. 1 is the plot. This is the events that make up a story. These events relate to each other in a pattern or a sequence. It has also conflict. This is the struggle between two opposing forces. Kumbaga sa isang istorya, kailangan ang bida at saka kontrabida. With the presence of the bida and the kontrabida, ito yung nagpapaigting sa istorya ng isang pelikula o di kaya ng isang dula. You have the basic situation, wherein the setting, problem, and main characters are introduced. In the exposition part of a typical Filipino story, a Filipino plot, characters, both main and supporting roles, are introduced in the exposition part. Then you have the complications. This is the act of complicating or making involved. Now, looking back on the plot, you have there the sequence of the events that is arranged in a complication in such a way that it will reach to the climax. And climax are the tension or actions reaches to its highest part. Then you have the resolution or the solution of the problem presented in the plot. Usually, the resolution or the denouement appears after the following action and typically where the story ends. So does a play. A play is a story acted out live on stage. Kung kaya't sinasabi, alin daw ang mas mahirap? Ang magtanghal sa entablado o di kaya sa isang pelikula? The difference is, sa pelikula, pwede mong makat when the actors has mistakes o kapag ka nagkamali. But on stage play, hindi pwede. Dire-diretso yan. Kung kaya during rehearsals, in my experience, during rehearsals, the director would always say, rehearsals but in a performance like. So, hindi pwedeng magkamali ang isang aktor sa entablado, especially if it is live. Presents characters performed by real people in a physical setting interacting before our eyes. Kung kaya nga live on stage, so live audience and live performers ang ating makikita. Ano ba ang kaibahan o pagkakatulad ng istorya at ang dula? Stories have characters carrying out a series of actions driven by a conflict of some kind and a plot. The plays also have characters carrying out a series of action driven by a conflict of some kind and, of course, a plot. Saan ba nagkaiba ang dula at ang istorya? They differ in format. The stories, it is a prose narrative, mataas, mahaba. Narrator describes characters, actions, and settings. The characters' words are marked by quotation marks. Plays consist entirely of characters, words, and actions. And the playwright may describe the characters and settings in the script, but the audience never hears this stage directions. All of this are written in the script. The script actors' direction or the blockings when you are told to sit down, to stand, to run, to shout. These are all indicated in the script. The audience sees and hears only the actors' interpretations of them. Kung kaya, sa isang senaryo, in a scene, kapag halimbawa, the actor would stood up and then open the door. So he will do it immediately. Hindi na kailangang puntahan ko ang pintuan. I will open. Ganon. Iba. When you are performing on stage, what you will do it immediately. The script for a play is just a beginning, like a blueprint of a house. You can imagine what a house will look like by looking at the blueprint, but only when it's built can you walk around and really feel what the house is like. It takes a team of theatrical artists to bring a play to life. So, ibig sabihin, sa isang dula, importante ang iba't ibang elemento. The lights, the uri ng stage, or what we call the proscenium, it may be arena type, the costume. These are all very important. So this you have to design and create. One, the costume. The costume plays an important role in a drama because of the costume plus your characterization. Mas lalong nagpapaigting sa karakter na yung dinadala. You have also the scenery. So, the lighting. Sa isang production, in a production, it is very important to have a very good sound and a very good light. Gaano man kaganda ang direksyon at ang direktor, kapag the sound and the lights is defective, walang mangyayari. Just like in a beauty pageant, no matter how beautiful our candidates, no matter how big the production is, kapag kapangit ang sound system at kapangit ang lights, walang mangyayari. You have also makeup. Makeup is very important to carry out the character you are portraying. Good characterization, good costume, good makeup, good stage, and good light equals good performance. The stories has of different kinds. One is tragedy. A tragedy is the presentation of serious and important actions that end up unhappily. A sample for tragedy is Romeo and Juliet. Tragic heroes plays portray the suffering of innocent characters, and in most tragedies, the central character is a noble figure known as the tragic hero. A tragic hero is a person who has a personal failing that leads to his or her downfall. This tragic flaw might be excessive pride, ambition, or passion, imperfections that lead the otherwise noble hero to make choices that doom him or her to a tragic end. On stage, example of a tragic plays are Romeo and Juliet and Hamlet. So, Romeo and Juliet, this is a classic stage play performed by, dito sa Pilipinas, ginawa na rin siya. Ginawa siyang ballet by the Ballet Philippines at saka stage play ng tanghalang Pilipino. A foil is a character who is used as a contrast to another character. So kung mayroong bida, dapat mayroon ding kontrabida. Playwrights often use foils to accentuate the distinct qualities of two characters. And in a tragedy, foils can highlight a hero's tragic flaws by showing an opposite virtue. Dramatic irony occurs when the audience or reader knows something important that a character does not know. Example, in Romeo and Juliet, the audience knows that Juliet is dragged and asleep, but the father thinks she is dead. The result is heartbreaking dramatic irony. Comedy. Isa rin sa mga naging popular sa panahon ng dulaang Pilipino ay ang mga komedya or the comedy plays. A comedy is a simple play that ends happily. Do you know that it's easy to cry and to let audience cry than making audience laugh. Pinakamahirap sa isang mandudula ang pagpapatawa sa tao. Kung kaya, in my experience as stage actor, mas mahirap ang comedy kaysa sa mga realistic plays. Like tragedy, a comedy is rooted in conflict, but the conflict in a comedy is often romantic. Someone wants to marry someone but faces an obstacle. For example, an opposing parent or a rival suitor. In comedy, the obstacle is always overcome, but not before complications, which are often ridiculous. In the dramatic conventions, drama has its own conventions or traditions, including the script and stage direction. So, these are all written in the script. Kaya sabi ko kanina, lahat ng gagawin ng isang artista ay nandoon, nakasaad doon sa script. But sometimes, ikaw as a thinking actor, ikaw na rin minsan mag-isip. So that is what we call improvisational acting on stage. The script is the text of the play. It includes all of the words that actors will speak and some instructions for the actors, designers, and the director. The speaking part, or what we call dialogue, is the conversation between characters in a play. A monologue, a long speech made by one actor to one or more other characters on stage. Mahirap ang isang monologue kapag hindi mo masyadong naintindihan the unit of your dialogue, your text, and your subtext. Kung kaya, kapag masyadong mataas ang isang monologue, you have to consult your director, or sometimes the director would really say, ano ba ang naintindihan mo sa sinasabi mo? Because if you know the text and the subtext, plus your nuances on stage and the unit of the dialogue, mas maging natural ang pag-arte sa entablado at mas kapani-paniwala. Soliloquy, a speech by a single actor who is alone on stage speaking to himself or herself or to the audience. So soliloquy is different from monologue. Huh? Playwrights often use monologues and soliloquies to develop ideas or express complex emotions. Aside, this is when a character speaks to the audience or to another character, but the dialogue is not supposed to be heard by the other characters on stage. The stage directions. The scripts also include stage directions, which describes where objects are placed, as well as directions on how the actors should move and speak. So yung sinasabi ko kanina. The technical elements, the scenery or the set, the theatrical equipment such as the curtains, the flats, the backdrops or platforms used in a dramatic production to communicate environment. So like for example, this one. Or this one. Or this one. Costumes, clothing and accessories worn by actors to portray characters and period. So props, shorts for properties, any article except costume or scenery used as part of a dramatic production, or any movable object that appears on stage during a performance, from a telephone to a train. The lights, the placement, intensity, and color of the lights. Helps this communicate environment, mood, or feeling. So kung sa isang, halimbawa, early morning or the dawn, so pwedeng magawa yan siya doon sa lights. That is what we call lights effect. The sound, the effect an audience hears during performance to communicate character, context, or environment. But usually in a stage play where the stage is not that complicated, or if we have a stage like this is a proscenium stage wherein the actors is on the center stage and the audience proscenium, or the arena type, yung halimbawa ay yung cockpit sa bungan. So it is an example of arena stage wherein the main actors are on the center stage and the audience surrounds the performer. The makeup, the costumes, the wigs, and body paint used to transform an actor into a character. So, you were able to hear the discussion on the abstraction of the elements of drama. So for your activity 1, what is one thing you learned today? This is think, pair, and share. Write it, share it, and tell me about it. Write it, pair it, tell me about it. That is for activity 1. For activity 2, for your activity 2, the title of the activity is Gawa mo, tanghal mo. The direction is, based on the following situation, create a scene and perform. 1. Terminal setting. 2. Household setting. 3. Love triangle. And 4th is investment scam. Gawa mo, tanghal mo. Based on the following situation, you have to create a scene and perform. For our generalization part, How stage drama affects the level of awareness in the contemporary world. For your assignment, list some visual artists in the Philippines and their contribution to the contemporary art world. This is your demonstration teacher, Lolito M. Puntillas. Thank you for listening. Good day.